Hello everyone, I'm Msgr Jamie and welcome to a new episode of Breaking Bread, where I bring together life's most important ingredients: family, faith, friends, and of course, food. Today we have with us a starving actor, so maybe I'll feed him a little bit. Ignacyo Matynia. He was 3 years old when he came from this country from Poland. He is an actor. He starred in Break Every Chain. It's an award-winning film. He was on Law & Order, and he's been on many other television programs. So I'm happy to have him today on our show. Today he's gonna come on and talk to us about his career. So don't go away.
Hey, my name is Ignacyo Matynia. I'm an actor. You may have seen me on Law & Order SVU, Break Every Chain, or My Nightmare Landlord on Lifetime television. So you guys bring me on the show. I want to learn how to cook something new, but you guys are making me cook something that I have all the time. Stuffed cabbage. I think it's called guampi. You couldn't teach me how to make something Italian, some pasta, maybe a Sunday sauce, whatever. I'll be the judge of how good it really is.
Welcome back to Breaking Bread, and we have with us a starving actor. I keep saying that because he's hungry today. Ignacyo Matynia. Ignacyo.
Nothing like the smell of hot, steamy cabbage to quench that existential hunger.
All right. And you know about Polish food, right?
Of course, I'm Polish. I was born in Poland. My parents
How'd you
cooked Polish
settle
food.
in Bensonhurst? That's an Italian name.
Of all the places, right? Well, my family moved to the United States when I was 3. We lived in Nashville, Tennessee. We lived in Pensacola, Florida. We lived in Orlando, Florida, and then we moved to Brooklyn. My dad had a job. He was chasing work. And of course, we settled on Cropsey and 24th Avenue.
Okay.
Cropsey and 24th,
Yeah,
right?
in the heart of
in the heart of Benson.
the Italians,
Yeah,
right?
80
Not Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
No,
where all
no,
the
no.
Polish people
That's where Greenpoint wasn't really a great neighborhood back then.
I know, you're right.
Yeah, so we went to Bensonhurst. That's where everybody was working. That's where
Great.
everybody was making money. That's where I went to school. That's where
Where'd you
grew
go
up.
to school?
I went to St. Athanasius.
Well, I think I've heard of that place.
Yeah,
They had that pass there.
what's his name? Msgr.
Casado. Yeah, I think.
Casado?
He's very low key. That's why I can't remember his name.
He really doesn't put himself out there at all.
So you went to school there. How'd
Yes, I
you get involved in acting?
So oddly enough, I did my first school play that I got picked out of the hat to star in.
At St. A's?
At St. A's. My teacher, Miss Lori Young, picked me out of the hat to play Casey in the play Casey at Bat. And I think that was the first time I experienced what stardom was. You know, I fell in love with it, and it was one of those things that I wasn't quite self-aware of. It was one of those things that I guess I learned as I got older and I felt more comfortable in my skin, and I wasn't really worried about other people's point of views, and I dived into it full force.
Great.
You know?
And you've been working on some great films and
I've been very
television
blessed.
shows, Law & Order. I mean,
That was an incredible experience. That's one of the TV shows you grew up watching in New York, you know? And
how many episodes were you on?
So I guest starred in one episode of the newest season, season 23, episode 12. And I'm not going to tell you whether or not I played the good guy or the bad guy.
Okay. Now, what about the movie?
The movie Break Every Chain. So that was a movie we filmed in the height of COVID. Actually, it's based off a true story, off the book based on Officer Jonathan Hickory's life. He was a first responder police officer who dealt with PTSD, alcoholism, and depression. And it's the story of his journey finding God and coming to terms with his problems and saving his family, his marriage, and everything else.
And I know that, you know, you go to church.
I do.
I mean, your faith is very important to you.
This
I
is
mean,
very true.
In the Polish tradition, I mean, Poland is one of the most Catholic countries in the world. And I know that that has had an impact on your life and your career and everything that you do.
Absolutely.
Because it's all grounded in faith.
You got to have those values. I mean, Hollywood is it's the Wild West, you know? You have people sacrificing their morals, their integrity, what makes them themselves, you know? And I'm trying to hold on to my values, my conviction, and I do that by staying grounded in my faith. And it's great to keep in contact with the parish, being around people like yourself. Msgr, what was his name? The one
Casado.
Casado, that one. Him. Yeah, no,
That's great.
Yeah, it's what keeps me grounded.
And we also put you to work. I know you do a lot of performances for us in the churches.
You guys are kind enough to bring me around, you know what I mean? And I mean, you guys have been working me since I was, 12 years old. I was an altar boy at St. A's, so that's free labor.
Okay. You know, you ever think of becoming a priest? I mean, you know, it's kind of like a little bit of acting.
A little bit of acting. It's a lot.
You need a little showmanship.
It's a lot of bit of acting, but I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could get away from the women, man.
I know that's a tough one.
They pull me in and they.
Well, you can do the work, God's work, whether you get married, you have a family.
Very true.
And sometimes you can do more on the outside than you can do.
Well, that's what it is. You know, I'm trying to tell stories with conviction, stories that have meaning and purpose so that we can pass along a message, maybe teach somebody a lesson, maybe give someone hope or faith where it was lacking. Maybe give them a little bit of an incentive to go search for a greater meaning. You know what I mean?
That's great, that's great. Now, you talk about your roots, your Polish background. You have a lot of Polish food at home?
We do. So my mother loves cooking. It's one of my father's favorite meals.
Okay.
That and liver, which I absolutely despise. So please never bring me on the show and make me cook liver. I won't eat it.
Pierogies?
The pierogies are amazing. There's a bunch of different kinds. My favorite are, they're called Ruskie pierogi, which is Russian pierogies. They're pierogies with potatoes, cheese, and sauteed onions on top. It's the best. We're not cooking that today.
No.
Maybe
I tell you, I looked up the recipe. I stuck to something a little easier, stuffed cabbage.
It's a little easier, right?
But you know what I love? We used to have a Polish cook when I first was ordained at St. Patrick's in Bay Ridge.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, she was excellent.
Was she?
Excellent. And the best thing that she make all these dishes, but the pączki, the jelly donuts.
Oh,
She
pączki.
used to make them fresh. Oh, they were unbelievable. That's why I put on a little weight.
Well, you're looking all right now. Polish sweets are impeccable. They're delicious.
So I prepared this Polish meal for you, but maybe you can give me a few pointers while I'm
Of course,
preparing
absolutely. Well, I'm curious, what kind of meats did we start off
we
with?
have beef and pork. We're going to take a break first.
Okay.
We'll be right back. We'll prepare this, and we'll hear a little more about your career.
Sounds good.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and I'm going to feed this starving actor some good food. None of that fast food that all these actors eat. We'll be back to hear a little bit more about his career and his Polish roots. Don't go away.
Polish food is great. There's some dishes that I love, pierogies, kielbasa. I love stuffed peppers. But when I came here, the first thing you're introduced to after having this food, it's meant to feed your hunger. That's it. And then coming here and experiencing fast food was crazy. I've never had a sandwich with so much flavor enter my body ever.
Welcome back to Breaking Bread with actor Ignacyo Matynia. He is a performing actor. He's been in many shows, movies, and he's here today, and I'm gonna make him a good Polish dish because he eats too many fast food items.
Or nothing at all.
So I'm making here something I'm sure you've had many times.
Right.
Stuffed cabbage.
Stuffed
What I
cabbage.
have here is onion and garlic.
That's correct.
You have to correct me if I'm doing anything
You're
wrong.
nailing it right.
Saute the onion and garlic with some olive oil.
Yep.
Okay, I have my cabbage right here.
We have our beef.
Okay.
We have our rice.
We have our beef. I mix it with a little pork.
Of course.
I put
What we usually do is beef, pork, and veal, but I'll let it
okay,
slide
like making
today.
meatballs.
Exactly.
Okay, but I didn't put any veal in here.
That's
we
fine.
I made some cooked rice.
Cool.
Okay, and of course we just got a head of cabbage.
boiled the cabbage.
Just boiled it, and you just peeled off the leaves. You boil for about 20, 25
That's right.
minutes.
Yep.
And
The
you put
leaves
that
just
in.
fall right off.
So now we have here our meat. Put in the egg.
Well, the egg, actually, what we do is once we saute the onions and the garlic,
Then we put
add
that
the
in.
beef
Okay, we'll
right?
put this
We add-
in right now.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Now we're gonna mix the onions, the garlic, and the meat together, and we're gonna throw it right back on
Okay,
the
I
pan.
put a glove on because I don't want to get my hands.
That's all right.
dirty.
I'll let you do all the dirty
All right.
work, okay?
I'll do the
I'm an
dirty
actor.
work.
I don't touch anything.
We'll put this right over here.
Great.
Get that out of the way. Okay. Okay, mix this together.
That's right.
Now we'll throw in some salt and pepper.
Salt, pepper, maybe
Throw it
some
in
red
there.
flakes.
Just throw it in.
Maybe got some
I'm going to
salt.
put you to work. Pepper.
This isn't in my contract.
A little red pepper. Now I like to put a little parsley in just for color.
You like it spicy?
Yes,
All
a
right,
little
let's put
spicy.
A little more.
I like to try something different.
What's that?
This is lemon zest.
Ah.
Throw that in there.
My
Your thing is, don't worry about it. Yeah, throw it in there. You know, this is the kitchen.
It's pretty zesty.
Okay, so now mix this
What we do
together.
is, we mix that together, then we cook it.
You can cook it ahead of time, but if
Right.
you bake it a little longer,
You want to
it'll
make sure,
cook.
yeah, you can bake it as well.
Throw in the rice. Okay. I've had about a cup of rice. Raw rice makes 2
Yeah,
cups.
keep that mix in there. We'll throw
Mix this together.
We'll throw the egg in there,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't clump up, we could add another
Okay.
egg, but I think one should be fine.
Yeah. Throw that egg in there to bind it all together.
Yep.
So we have in here some beef and pork, and of course, as Ignacyo said, we could put some veal. We have our cooked rice, and we have our sautéed onion and garlic with some olive oil.
I promise it tastes a lot better than
Some
most.
salt and pepper, and a little lemon zest. That's my little trick. Okay. And what we do is basically just mix this all together.
That's right.
And we have our cabbage.
And we roll it up.
We just roll it up. Now I'll take this, throw that away.
Let's get our hands dirty.
I'm gonna put some in and you can roll them for me. How
Sounds good.
about- Roll it up.
Amazing.
Fold in the side so that doesn't come out. You just fill these up.
Like little burritos.
Yes, exactly.
Polish burritos, that's what we call them.
It's very easy. Now these you can prepare ahead of time too. That's what makes it so great. So I put a little tomato sauce that I already prepared. And you can just place those in the pan. And you know what you're doing.
I do. It's not my
So why do you eat so much fast food?
Because I don't have time.
Time,
I don't have time.
know,
Actually, I don't really eat fast food. I love fast food.
Okay.
But whether or not I actually fall into that indulgement is another thing.
Now tell me, how did you get into acting?
So, I was going to college at SUNY Albany for pre-med, right?
Pre-med, okay.
Everyone in my family is in medicine, and so I guess just by tradition, I was indoctrinated into believing that's what I was supposed to do.
Right.
When I got to college, I kind of developed a mind of my own. I got my own personality, found what was me, so to say, you know? And I realized that medicine wasn't for me, that there's this thing out there that I want to explore that I haven't had the opportunity to explore. And I know if I finish school and I go to med school and I pursue that life, I will never have the chance to do that. And so I took the time to really decide that this wasn't for me. I left school. Well, first I transferred to St. Joseph's College to come back closer to New York. I worked with a mentor because I was taking acting classes in between all of that.
Okay.
And the guy that I was working with, his name was Sedley Bloomfield, very talented actor. He looked at me and he said, you know, if you have a plan B, you're setting plan A up to fail. He goes, you seem like the kind of person who's talented, who has a gift. And I've never known that. You know, when someone tells you you've got a gift, you kind of brush it off. It's like,
Right.
what are you talking about? But I realized it, and I loved what I was doing.
When you're doing something, if you're not happy, you gotta just go with it.
Well, that's one of the hardest things to do, right? Following your hunt or following society or what everybody tells you to do.
But I just want to show you that in case the stem is a little too thick,
Right,
all you do is
cut it
just,
off.
just break it
Rip
right
it right off,
And
throw
if
it in there.
the cabbage falls apart, you can put 2 pieces together, and once you cook them, it'll all blend together.
A little extra meat.
Yeah,
And some rice balls.
Oh.
Meatballs.
exactly.
Whatever you want.
Polish meatballs.
Polish meatballs.
Okay. And then what we do,
Throw it in the oven.
yep, we take a little sauce, just put a little bit on top,
Spray it right on top.
and you bake this. Now, just a little hint. Some people do this in Italian with stuffed peppers. Same ingredients.
Here's the thing, when I was a kid, I hated cabbage. So
Okay.
my mother used to make them for me in peppers.
Right,
Everybody else
exactly.
had cabbage, I had the peppers.
Yes,
Because I had all my Italian friends talking in my ear.
especially you're an actor, right?
I am.
And you know, you gotta be careful because, you know, cabbage is very gassy.
I mean, you're telling me.
You know, you don't wanna be on the set.
And you picked this to bring me on the show, right?
We'll put this in the oven since the meat is raw. I
Right.
mean, I know in the Polish tradition you may have
Cook it
cooked
first.
the meat.
Yeah. How long are you putting it in for?
I'm gonna put in about 35, 40 minutes at 350.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds
we'll
like
let
a plan.
this cook. You have any relatives in Poland? I know you were
My
born
entire
outside
family.
of Krakow.
Yeah, in a town called Msgr. My whole family
What's
was in
that?
Poland. Msgr.
And how far?
wanna try to pronounce that?
Forget it.
How far is that? It's about 45 minutes outside of Krakow. It's a medicinal town where people go to rejuvenate. There's a lot of wellness centers, spas, hospitals there. So a lot of people with ailments travel to that town. My grandfather was a surgeon. He's very well known in the area, and so that's where the whole medicinal thing came
Okay.
at me. But that's where I was born. My parents moved to Krakow, that's where my mother's from. And then we decided to move to the United States.
Do you ever go back?
I always go back. My entire family's there. You know, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my grandparents. God rest her soul, my grandmother just passed away, so my grandfather came to stay with us here in New York, and he hates it. He misses Poland. He loves Poland so much. The only thing he likes is the family. You know what I mean?
So I'm sure, John Paul II is very
he was the best pope.
Best pope ever, right?
That's the one thing we're so proud of.
He was the best.
You guys have George Washington in America. We got John Paul II.
Exactly. But not just in Poland, the whole world.
The whole world,
the whole church, the Catholic Church.
He left his mark.
Okay. We're going to take a break.
Sure.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're going to taste this stuffed cabbage, and Ignacyo will tell us a little bit more about his future. Don't go away. Welcome back to Breaking Bread with actor Ignacyo Matynia. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Now we're going to try this stuffed cabbage. What do you call them?
Gołąbki.
Gołąbki.
That's right.
Let's take this out. The oven's in here about 35, 40 minutes. Wow, look at this.
It smells delicious.
That looks really good. So tell me, Ignacyo, what is your future? What does it have in store for you? What do you plan on doing?
There's a lot of things I got to work on. I mean, I want to work on my perseverance, my tenacity. This business is very unpredictable.
I know.
So if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Right.
I'm hoping to get into directing, writing, and producing my own content, telling stories with conviction, because I feel like that's lacking today in Hollywood. Helping to convey a message that ultimately uplifts and makes people better people.
Okay. I know in acting, like many other professions, but I think more so in acting, you have to really be persistent and have a lot of patience, because we know there's 100 auditions for every one.
Yeah, but most importantly, you have to have faith.
Faith,
That's
exactly.
the most important
thing.
thing.
And that's what I was getting to, that you have to put your trust in God, have patience. A lot of times we don't have patience.
That's the hardest
thing.
thing.
And we want things tomorrow, today, yesterday. And if you're really convicted about something and you really know that this is what you want, go with it and never give up.
Absolutely.
Because God will get you through.
From your lips to God's ears.
I pray so. So let's take this out and see how this is. How do they look, first of all?
They look real.
Right?
They look real. They look like they've been done right. Give me a small one.
Small one.
Yeah, I'm a starving actor. I got to watch my figure, you know what I mean?
All right. Okay.
Of course, you gives me the biggest one of the bunch. All right, let's cut into this.
Let's see how it tastes. Wow, look at that.
Wow.
Smells good, right?
Is that your Italian sauce? Is this like an Italian twist on the Polish?
Now, I would put a little Parmesan cheese on top.
I mean, you
to
can.
make it a little Italian.
Do we have?
Well, what are pierogies? You put cheese in there, raviolis.
Right, that's exactly
what
they're
tomato
Polish
sauce?
raviolis.
Wow, this is great. What do you think?
I'll be honest with you, that tomato sauce is phenomenal. The beef tastes good. I've never had it without veal, and I think that's a good subtraction.
Would you taste the lemon zest?
I do. You know what it tastes like? I can taste the sauteed onions and I can taste the garlic, and it broadens the spectrum of the flavor, for sure. I think it's delicious, and I think you did a great job. I'll be honest with you, as a kid, I hated cabbage. My mom would make them
with the peppers, right?
With the peppers, exactly. And I thought it was much better, but I'll tell you right now, I can't even taste the cabbage. It tastes like it's just
really,
holding
the
it all
cabbage
together.
is about, maybe 5% of the ingredients.
I know,
it's
but
very thin, you don't even taste it.
You know what you said about the cabbage.
I know.
Luckily, it's a thin layer of cabbage, you know what I mean?
Well, Ignacyo, first of all, I want to wish you well in your career.
Thank you very much.
And when you win an Academy Award, don't forget me. I'd love to be in one of your movies. Okay,
we will make it happen. We will. You and Casada will audition. Right. We'll see.
I'm a little shy though, but you have to. I'll force myself.
This guy's shy. Cheers.
Thank you. I'll be praying for you. Tastes good.
Where'd you get this wine? It's good.
Yeah, my homemade wine.
We'll
talk about that another day.
Is that it right there? Wow.
A taste of heaven in Brooklyn.
Don't say.
Msgr Gigantiello.
Is that going to be in the liquor stores anytime soon?
Soon. I hope. As soon as you're on Broadway.
Gotcha.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. I did. And hearing a lot about someone that came to this country as a young boy and really made it in this country. I mean, he's an actor. His family is very assimilated here in Brooklyn. They brought with them their traditions, their roots, their faith, and everything. And I think one thing that I learned speaking to Ignacyo today was that it's really important to put your trust in God. Whatever you have in mind to do, whatever you want to do, put your trust in God and never give up. I think a lot of times we lose our patience, but God never loses his patience with us. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but when you put your trust in God, it'll happen someday. He'll never let you down. See you next time on Breaking Bread.